In part 3 of my Spain video series, we're moving on from Madrid to Barcelona. In today's video, we'll have a tour of the beautiful new hotel we stayed in, breakfast at the hotel restaurant, a visit to the famous Sagrada Familia, and I'll visit 3 different watch stores, authorized dealers for Rolex, Tudor, and Panerai. Just like in Madrid, I'll have to split up Barcelona into 2 videos. I'd rather include as much as I can in these videos rather than making shorter videos and cutting out parts and leaving things out. So the next part of Barcelona will include visiting even more historic sites, including Montserrat, and visiting even more authorized dealers. And traveling from Madrid to Barcelona was fairly quick. Somehow I was expecting Spain to be larger in terms of size, but it's a fairly small country. It's more comparable to a medium to large state, such as Ohio or Pennsylvania. So it was a fairly short train trip, and most of it was over flat land, and we were able to rest in the lounge before boarding the train. And then we took a taxi to the hotel, which was also a fairly short trip. And riding through Barcelona, I noticed that it's not quite as pretty as Madrid, but the area does get nicer towards the hotel. Once we arrived, the staff brought up our luggage while we checked in. So after a short tour of the hotel, I'm going to step outside and take a walk and visit the first authorized dealer right away. The Mandarin Oriental is a great hotel, a very different ambiance compared to the Four Seasons. It doesn't have a spacious lobby like the Four Seasons, but the rooms are just as nice and the staff is very attentive. There's a huge number of luxury stores collected all together right near the hotel. So it's like walking in Madrid in the nice section of Madrid or the meatpacking district in New York City. Even though this is a very nice looking part of the city, this is still Barcelona, so I'm being very cautious and I'm wearing the Timex Expedition Indiglo watch. The first authorized dealer is just a 5-minute walk from the hotel. And so far in Spain, I haven't seen any Rolex boutiques owned directly by Rolex, such as Bucher. All of the stores I visited are authorized dealers. The first store is Tous, and this is a small to medium-sized authorized dealer. The person I met with was very nice, and he sat me down and asked if I would like to see anything. And I was glad to see the 36mm yellow gold day date with the cornelian dial. This is the first time I've seen this orange stone dial in person, and this cornelian dial looks amazing in person. It looks just as good as it does in pictures, but I would prefer it if it did not have the diamond bezel. I think this was the best looking watch in the entire store. Even though I did not try on any other watch and I did not even ask to buy anything, The sales associate voluntarily told me that there are 5 watches available for sale today. He pulled up the list on his iPad, even without me asking for it. On the list was a two-tone Datejust in rose gold. There was the new full yellow gold Deep Sea, and there was also the white gold Pepsi available for sale today. There were 2 others on the list available for sale, but I don't remember which ones they were, but none of them were steel sports watches. But I asked him how safe it is in Barcelona, and he said it is not safe. Even around the hotel and the nice luxury stores in this area, he said always keep your wrist covered. He was wearing a platinum Yachtmaster, and he told me that he does not wear that out in public. He only wears it at home or at work, or if he's in a closed, safe restaurant. During my entire Spain trip, besides this sales associate, I only saw one other person wearing a Rolex. That was inside the Four Seasons Hotel, and it was a Sky Dweller in yellow gold with the Oyster Flex bracelet. I saw a couple Tag Heuer, I saw many Apple Watches, and I saw one watch that looked like a Day-Date, but obviously it was not a Rolex. Next up is Panerai, which is nearby, and I tried on the Luminor and the Radomir, and I like this blue dial. It's a nice size watch on me, and the quality of the bracelet is very decent. He explained to me that the European tax is included in the retail price on the sales tag, and if I give him my passport, he'll give me a barcode to scan at the airport, and I can receive 21% back on my credit card. And he said I do not need to declare this at customs, so I do not need to pay US sales tax either. So it looks like buying in Europe is a good way to save money on tax. Next up, I went to Rabat, which is a huge store and carries several brands. They had Rolex, Omega, Vacheron, and several other brands. But I went there just to see FP Journe. Unfortunately, I lost the footage and I can't find it, so I do not have the footage of me handling the watch. But there were only 4 examples on display, and only one of them was fully functional. The other ones were dummy watches, and the one that was fully functional has already been sold and allocated. The customer will be picking it up within 1 week. But I got to handle this watch, and the dial was amazing, very intricate dial work. He said they only make 1,000 watches in total per year, as opposed to Mosier, which was sitting right next to FP Journe. He said they make about 6,000 watches per year. And I asked him, how does one acquire an FP Journe? And he said that you can request to be put on the wait list. You can ask to be put on the wait list, but you cannot ask for a specific model. Whenever any new FP Journe comes in, they'll notify the person at the top of the wait list, and then he'll have to accept it or decline it, regardless of what model it is. I'm still having trouble sleeping, so I got up early and went downstairs to try out the fitness center. The night staff was still on duty, and there was a coffee machine that appeared in the lobby, and he made me a double espresso. My usual exercise routine is doing the treadmill, pull-ups and push-ups. I should be doing squats, but I've been slacking off on that. And I also slacked off on doing pull-ups. If I stop doing pull-ups for any period of time, my strength really goes downhill pretty fast, and I have to slowly build up my pull-ups back up to a decent level. I'm trying to use good form most of the time, and that really helps to build my strength. Going slowly on the way down, extending my arms all the way, and not swinging. Push-ups are usually easier for me, but I'm still having the rotator cuff issues, and I haven't been doing my shoulder exercises like I should be. I can still do a decent amount of push-ups, but I have some aching in the shoulders throughout the day and a not very good full range of motion. I think I overloaded my plate, but everything in the buffet looked so good. I think this is the best Asian rice that I've ever had. It's seasoned perfectly. Other places usually have too much salt or it's too greasy, but this taste of the soy sauce was just perfect. The only thing is I think they could have added some vegetables in there to make it even better. The quiche was decent, tasted good, but nothing out of the ordinary. There's also a menu which you can order almost anything. Everything on this plate was from the buffet except for the asparagus and the chicken sausage, which I ordered from the menu. I also ordered two boiled eggs, and they ask you to specify exactly how many minutes you want them to be boiled. And that caught me a little bit off guard. And they'll make pretty much anything else you would want for breakfast, even if it's not on the menu. The first site we're seeing is pretty much the most famous one in Barcelona, and that's the Sagrada Familia, designed and built by Antoni Gaudi. So I'll show you a short tour of the Sagrada Familia, and afterwards we'll go to another authorized dealer. Tudor is almost right across the street from the hotel, so I stopped in there to try on the Pelagos 39. Also wanted to try on the Black Bay 54 and compare those two watches side by side. I really like the size of the Black Bay 54, and I think it fits really well on my small wrist. But anyone that says that Tudor quality is just as good as Rolex, I really don't believe them. I can really feel the difference between handling a Rolex and a Tudor. I can feel the difference in the steel, the 904L steel versus the 916 steel. And I can feel the difference with the bezel action. The Submariner has a really premium feel to the bezel when turning it. The clicking sounds so much nicer, and it seems like it's a better built than the Tudor. And I'm not sure about the titanium on this Pelagos. It makes it feel very light, so light that maybe it affects how it feels like in the hand, and maybe feels like a little lower build quality, but that's just because of the lightness of the watch and the texture of the titanium. I've never handled a Rolex titanium, so I'm wondering if that's going to feel the same, or if the Rolex titanium is a better material than the Tudor. I'll end the video here, but I'll have another video on Barcelona coming up very soon, seeing another historic site and visiting a more authorized dealers. I'll talk about one brand that I have not talked about yet while in Spain.